Hello everybody, my name is Rarugu, and today I would like to bring to you my first initial impressions of Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Diablo 4 beta. The beta started yesterday, and fortunately, the queue problems seem to have been resolved somewhat. Knock on wood. Basically, I want to share with you the answer to a question: is the game worth playing? And the short answer is yes, it is. Did I have any worries about the game that when I started it, when I saw the initial world, the combat system, the crafting system, was there anything alarming? Largely alarming, saying, ooh, if this is in the game, it's horrible. No, there was absolutely nothing, and the question mark for me is what's going to be at the store, because right now the store is not available, because it's the beta. So if the company, Blizzard, doesn't screw up the store and it's not gonna be pay to win with like super duper late game equipment, then the game is absolutely worth playing. So what do I even start with? Let's start with the characters and the customizations of characters. So if I look at the visuals and what the character is like, there's a bit of a demonstration. There is a whole bunch of different attires that you can put on your character, transmogrification systems, and the look of the character is done really well. It is better than any other previous Blizzard games. If there was maybe a little bit more customizability, then it would be like super solid. There are some issues with like the hair and whatnot in the character model creation, but in terms of your character looking good, that's a solid top 5, right? I don't have any issues with the looks. Aesthetically, the game is just beautiful. It's wonderful. Love it. In terms of characters and the mechanics of like how the items are created and how the properties of the character are impacting the gameplay, I am pleased to say that I think the situation of having like 4 stats and none of them, and like half of them not mattering, like in Diablo 3, that's not the case. Strength, intelligence, willpower, and dexterity, they're impactful. And if you get an item with like plus all stats, it's going to make, a difference. And if you add that up across a variety of items, is going to make, an impact on how you play. The beta is up to level 25, so you're kind of at the start of the game. You're about to transition into the mid game, and when it comes down to looking at the character sheet and figuring out how the game functions mechanically, if you enable advanced tooltips, there is a lot to learn, and reading about the properties is available. And if you want to understand how do I make a powerful character, looking at the character sheet is convenient and it's laid out for you very well. So yes, there are outside sources, you know, like maxroll.gg that you can go to, and they have it laid out even in more detail. But in terms of looking at the character sheet and figuring out what's important and why it's important, for example, armor, you know, hover over and it explains to you from the point of mathematics what it does. I really like that. And again, every single attribute out of the 4 matters, which I really, really like. In terms of itemization, Diablo 4, I think, is doing a fantastic job. This is one of the best features of it. When I'm saying that it's one of the best features of it, what Diablo 4 has done well so far, from what I'm seeing, is the synergy between the skills and the items. So let me go over the skill tree real quick and explain how it functions. When you start the game, there are basic skills, then you move on to the core skills. As you invest skill points, you need to invest 2 skill points in your basic skills, then you move on into the core skills, and then as you invest in the tree, as you invest the skill points, you can unlock particular nodes, right? After core skills, I think there's mastery, the defensive skills. After defensive skills, you get conjugation. Well, that's for the wizard at least. And then after that, you get mastery skills, which is based on, in terms of a wizard, which element are you playing? And I decided to play like a fireball sorcerer. And so my core skill is firebolt, then a area of effect burst damage is fireball. Then for a sorcerer or a wizard, whichever one you wish, that is a signature spell, teleport. So after that, you move on into mastery, which again, you focus on that particular element, and you don't need to max out the skill, right? You just can put 1 point into it and it will make an impact in terms of gameplay. And we got just enough content to unlock the ultimate skill and the 2 nodes that buff it. And I'll show you how that works. Before I do, though, just a little bit about the point investment. When you invest a point, right here it says that, I need 7 more points invested until this node gets unlocked, which is the last node in the tree. And as long as you invest 1 point into the adjacent subcategories of a skill, it's gonna function, right? So I'm gonna step back a little bit because it was important for me to step forward before I step back, right? Why is it that I think itemization is really good and it works well? Here's an example. I have a pair of boots that I found, and this pair of boots has +1 to teleport, +1 to frost nova, and +1 to flame shield. And in the skill tree, I can use the teleport. I don't need to invest a skill point into it. I don't have to activate it in order to use it. This was a bit of an issue with Diablo 2. In Diablo 3, if you find an item and that item has a skill, you can immediately use it, and 1 point in teleport is all you need. I shouldn't say it's all you need, right? It depends on the build that you're doing. So that's why I think what Blizzard has done with items and synergizing items and skills works really, really well. And if this is the case for every single class and how it functions, then kudos to them. Absolutely a wonderful job. In terms of crafting, I'll briefly say that in the first 25 levels that I've played, the small changes that you do to the items, they have a little bit of an impact, you know, tweaking the item, but it's important to, more than anything, at the start of the game, to focus on a particular path. You know, I've wanted to play Fireball, so the only skill that I got maxed out is the Fireball. The rest of the nodes, it's just one node at a time, to make it flow. And it's actually really good because that makes you think about, hey, do I really want that skill point? It makes every skill point matter. In terms of items and the stash, you know, you can purchase new stash tabs with gold. So as long as you play, do your quests, you're gonna have more stash tabs. Now, one more thing I'm gonna mention about itemization. Let's take this rare weapon, this dagger. This weapon has no level requirement, and if a character puts it on at level 1, it boosts the power of the character quite a bit. Or let's say, where is that two-hander? Like this two-hander right here, rare sword. This is for a barbarian, and the required level is 14. Now, normally it would be like probably level 20 or whatnot. That would get this weapon. So what I'm saying is that there is an impact in terms of let's say you're level 20. Let's say you're level 20, right? And you equip a level 14 weapon. If you flip that logic, by the time you equip a weapon of level 14, if it's a rare item, it boosts you in power. So like this bow right here, level 11 bow, that is well suited for a level 18 to 20 character. And you don't have a super jumpy progression. So the stash is shared between your characters, and if you start, you know, the game and you choose a class and you start playing it, collecting the rares for other classes, just one weapon is it makes a big difference, because your weapon, your skill damage is based on your weapon damage, right? And putting that on a rogue at level 11, you're just gonna start blasting through. So what I'm saying is that magic items, rare items, they matter. They're impactful. And if you have a favorite class that you want to play and pick up the rares, it's gonna make a difference, and it will be impactful. The next topic that I want to mention is the world. In beta, we travel around fractured peaks. If I remember right, this is where we start. And to summarize, when you look at the map and you see like the dungeons with various tasks in them, right? The dungeons are large, and if the mounts are unlocked, they're not a hassle. But without the mounts, it's a little bit tough because they're large in size, and without, you know, the speedy riding on the horses, which I can't show because the mounts are locked in the beta for now. But dungeons are really fun. They are based on your character level, and you get tangible rewards that may be impactful for your class. So after playing for, I don't know, maybe 10 hours, something like this, and playing all this, and seeing how huge the map is, like this is Fractured Peaks, then there's this region, and this region, and this region, right? There are 5 of them. I think it's 1 region per act, right? And then maybe there's something else hidden, right? the amount of exploration that you can do to unlock bonuses of some sort for your classes, like power-ups for your classes, it's a lot of content, a lot of really fun content, and once you unlock it, it's going to be shared between your characters. So building up an account and improving your it's not necessarily about just one character, it's about building up an account, right? If you, or at least in my case, where you build it up, and when you build up the account, you can use what you found through unlocking of dungeons to have a enjoyable gameplay experience. When you play through the world, wait, where's the, why can't I view the rewards? Fractured Peaks. Oh, that's because I'm messaging in the there. When you play and you do the quests and you go through the dungeons, you get the experience and you get renown. Renown allows you to unlock various bonuses that are also impactful. Gold makes a difference. If you go through the region, right, what we can see here is that there are like 3 skill points, and each skill point matters in terms of the build, at least at the very start. You know, you sense that your character has improved. So I think there are 5 regions, and in each region there's probably going to be like 2 skill points that you can unlock. Maybe in some others, you know, you don't have potion charges, extra potion charges, but you get, you know, more skill points. And it matters. So going through the dungeons, it's fun, and you get a reward that matters, which I absolutely love. I'm not gonna go over all the crafters and artisans, but I think they're well designed. I don't sense any frustrations in terms of that. They're useful, right? They're useful. They don't feel like, oh, it's just kind of there, and why is it even in the game? I did not have that kind of a sensation of, I don't know why this feature is introduced, right? So that it's well polished and it's well done, right? I think it's fair to say that this game is Blizzard quality, in terms of cinematics, in terms of aesthetics, in terms of gameplay. I'm gonna demonstrate what I've talked about when it comes to the skills synergizing together. So when it comes to building up your character, you typically need 3 aspects: offense, defense, and mobility. It's not the exhaustive list, but if you want to be not a beginner but an advanced player, if you think about offense, then defense, and then mobility, and figure out how you want to do it, how you want to design your character and build it up, you're going to be alright. So again, core skill, Firebolt. Let's look at the skill tree. Again, I picked the path of a fire wizard as an element, so 1 point in Firebolt, then a few passives. Fireball is the main damage dealing skill. Flame Shield makes you immune, ignites the enemies, and enables synergies for the fireball. Hydra, another damage dealing skill. Conjugation, it's basically flashy, and it has impact on combat, a little bit more DPS. Ultimate skill, Inferno. Ultimate skill, in case of this character, right, what it does is it creates a serpent that pulls a large group of enemies in, and then you fireball them, and your DPS essentially goes up. there is also is it Shift C? Yes. Something that is unlocked earlier in the game is an enhancement for a skill. And depending on the skill that you put in, the enhancement is going to be different. So you get to alter the style of play depending on the enhancement. And in case of a fireball, what happens is, if the enemy dies, they explode for half the fireball's damage. So let's say you have a group of like 20 enemies, and you pull them in, and you shoot the fireball, one of them dies, there's a chain reaction, it goes... It's really, really fun. And that's not even all the content that's unlocked in terms of being able to build a character and make it happen. So, I'm gonna find a group of enemies and show how that works. Just pull a whole bunch of them in, and then show it. So let's say there's a group of enemies. Pull them in. Boom, fireball. Boom, fireball. And the passive that I have for the ultimate skill is to make sure that the mana doesn't get spent. So if I'm getting damaged, I hit Flame Shield, I become immune for 2 seconds, I can move through them, ignite them, so it's offensive and defensive skill at the same time. Depending on what you want to do and how you want to get. So what I've concluded is that regardless of, not regardless, but like for building a fireball wizard, it's really fun, and pulling off combos like this is very satisfying. And in my mind, buying the game to just go through the story and experiment with every character, with different builds, with the skill tree, is gonna be fun. You can respec, right? If you want, you save up the gold and you can respec your skills and try out different builds. You don't have to create a new character to try a different build, which saves a ton of time. So what I want to say to Blizzard is thank you for meeting my expectations, and in some ways even exceeding them in terms of what it means to build an RPG. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I'm not disappointed. If the store is not predatory and not pay to win, then this game is something that many people are going to enjoy for many years to come. Thank you, Sarah, for doing that sound effect.
It's okay.
I'm recording.
It's okay.
Thank you very much for watching. And that blowing of the nose, that's not my impression of the game. That's...
I don't think anybody would get that impression.
Some might. Yeah, they do. Alright. I hope you enjoyed this, and my recommendation is get the game. Play it. Just for the story. And I think group play and making different builds with synergies where people help each other out and the skill from one class helps the other class. It's going to be really fun. This is definitely, I think, something that's going to be a pleasure for years to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.